Hello out there in cryptocurrency land. Welcome back to Real Crypto, where we take the market one leg at a time while keeping the market cycle in mind. And like it's been for the past couple of weeks, almost a month now, it seems the market cycle is the thing that's in question. Bitcoin's been doing some not so massive movements. It has had some vacillations back and forth, but for the most part, it's maintained a very narrow range here ever since we had the failure from 7,500. We poked back up here to about 6,800 and a low of about 6,100. We're stuck within the $700 price range right here, and that's where we have our alerts at in the Real Crypto Power Hour. And if it crosses one of those levels, I'll get alerted, and then it's pretty much, in my opinion, up to the next leg in either direction. So looking at Bitcoin here, we did fail that 7,500 level right there. We dropped down lower, and we started forming a bear flag, which we've pretty much been in the entire time. I know it's been a while since my last video, but there haven't been any extraordinary market moves, and so I believe my last video is still as pertinent as this video. Not much in between has changed, but one thing that has surpassed is time. And the main difference in between the time I made my last video and today is the fact that we have a very low volume situation. Once again, the volume has been steadily declining. The price action has been steadily going sideways for the most part. We did pop up a little bit. We had a bit of a range area down here at 6,400. Now our range is at a whopping $6,500. So, it's changed a little bit, but not a lot at all. And you can see the volume signatures down here. A lot of red, a lot of larger red candles, a few larger green candles as of late, and then oscillating back and forth between bullish and bearish. Now, I have got a volume aggregation tool that I developed, and it's showing a little bit of green right throughout here, but that the oscillation between the buying and the selling volume has just continued back and forth, and there's no real major insights you can get from this tool at this moment in time. But looking at just straight price action, it to me really looks like another bearish pattern. Nothing really dangerous here in terms of breaking into an uptrend. The only thing that we can say is that it has failed to go lower, and therefore it's just going to expire due to time into a choppy market cycle or directly into an uptrend. Now, while that is slightly possible, I'm of the opinion that in order for us to get into a prolonged bull market, we're going to need new money coming into Bitcoin and in mass amounts. Some people will say that's going to be institutions coming in. Some people are going to say that's the ETFs. People are going to point out different factors. But there's no major ETFs on the horizon. There's also no major new retail money coming into the community as well. While people are interested in Bitcoin, people do know about Bitcoin, they're not necessarily investing heavily into Bitcoin. At the same time, the people that have been involved in Bitcoin, while many of them feel bullish, very few of them are actually putting money to work, and that's evidenced by the declining volume we've had this entire time. In fact, the only real inclining volume you've had, or raising volume, has been these candles right there, which are very, very deep sell candles. Both of those are very big sell candles. And then just a very tight sideways action. So zooming out, you can see, and everyone knows about this kind of, if you omit this wick, it looks a little bit like a pennant. Okay, and we're coming up towards that pennant situation, and I think we're likely to fail that. And then even taking the pennant out of the situation there, even drawing a line across the 6,000, we could easily come down here to this 58.75 level, which is what I've been talking about here recently. And we'll see what happens if and when we get down there. With the volume declining, I think it's likely that we end up moving lower. But if we do pop up higher, and there is a possibility of that, I'm looking at this level right here at the 68.25 level as the entry point. And I will wait for that entry point because I do not have an extraordinarily strong belief, and my money believes nothing, so I'm not going to put that money to work or waste it in a 50-50 scenario right here. So I think it is kind of 50-50, but my gut feeling tells me that we go lower out of the situation. Declining volume, slowly rising price does not mean bullish action. Now, taking a look at Ethereum, you have a somewhat different situation. A slightly different situation. It's not night and day, however. Something else I forgot to mention. We still have the 200 period moving average up here at about 7,300, holding us down as well. That could play a factor if we do bounce up. All right, back to Ethereum, where the 200 is up here. at 450, which seems pretty high right now in Ethereum, so that's a little abnormal. The main factor for people that think that the market has bottomed, in my mind now, is the Ethereum dumping all the way down to 160. That is a very aggressive sell-off. It's come all the way down from basically $1,400 to $160. That is a huge sell-off. And the massive volume that we've had down here is usually indicative of bottoming action. The thing right now that scares me about that, however, is the fact that we're in a bear flag here. And not only that, we're inside of a smaller bear flag, just outside of that bear flag right here. So not too many bullish signatures in the chart here. In fact, in this bear flag right here, you can see the general declining volume, giving the bear flag more credence. One thing I did say a while back, I don't remember exactly which video, I said, and I know during the power hour I said it pretty much as we were, right here at about the $190 level, as we were actually looking at these lows to buy it possibly, anyway. What I said is that we could rally all the way up here to this $280 level, right where we broke down here, and we could still be perfectly healthy for a downtrend in Ethereum. And lo and behold, we never even really came close. We got to about $255 and still well below that $280 level. So absolutely, it is fully possible to roll over. We have a lower low, a lower high. There's no trend change here in Ethereum. I think if you're really bullish on Ethereum at this particular level, the only thing you can grasp onto is the higher volume. That's it. Now, I will give you, it's a good looking volume area. So this is Bitfinex. This is the Bitfinex chart. So let's zoom out and kind of get some history. This is going all the way back. This right here is February 2017. So it's about a year and a half ago. And you can see the volume here on Bitfinex is greatly elevated. I think a lot of that has to do with the fact that you can short on Bitfinex, and I think that is some leverage trading there as well. So that volume may be slightly elevated. But even going to Coinbase, which you cannot short on, you can see the volume is still elevated, not nearly as high as we had over here, but definitely still an elevated area. But we've also seen elevated areas here. We saw a little bit of elevation right there. So I'm not super convinced. I'm not super convinced that this is the absolute bottom in Ethereum. We talked a while ago around the $114, $85 range. We have different targets depending on how you want to derive that target. But right now it looks like this is just another pause for further downside movement. And if you look at my volume aggregator here, what you're going to see, excuse me here, trying to get that lined up. What you're going to notice here is there's a general decline in the overall buying pressure of Ethereum. So power hour members, this is something new. I just noticed this after the power hour, actually just a couple hours ago. But you notice here we had high volumes, less high volumes here, and now less high volumes here. And if all we get out of this beautiful run here, I mean, it's really funny. If you look at where the volume started going green here, the price was at about $262. We had all this green volume, and we're actually negative. We're at $228. Whereas over here, the volume started going green over here at about $300, and then ended up peaking right there at about $870. So at least that was a good run. That was at least a good run right there. Over here, it's negative. I mean, most of these runs are positive. I won't say all of them are. And this isn't a perfect tool, guys, by any stretch of the imagination. But generally, if you have a lot of green volume, you would think that you would rise a little bit more. Now, I also understand that high volume can indicate bottoming, but putting a head and shoulders pattern in a high volume area is a little perplexing to me, to be honest with you. And if you go down to the 2-hour chart, which I'm attempting to do, going down to the 2-hour chart, you have a head and shoulders pattern right here with a general trend line upward sloping here, which could give you an early indication of this right shoulder failing and proceeding to go lower. Here's your neckline, and if it does fail here, just kind of where I arbitrarily drew this, your target is just undercutting those recent lows down to about $158 in change, give or take exactly where it breaks at. This is going to slide across this scale like this. So as we go on, the price is going to go up. If we break down now, the price is going to be lower. So we'll have to see how that plays out. But the volume is declining, slowly moving higher. Again, bearish action in Ethereum. So while I understand a lot of people are very bullish right now, I'm not necessarily on that train. I do view the market with a lot of caution here. We do have declining volumes, very sideways price action. Perfectly happy living at $6,600. So I think in the long run, this probably will end up going lower. Now, even if we do pop up higher, keep in mind the real crypto community, which is a pretty good community. We're about 50-50 split right now in terms of bulls and bears. We've got a member who thinks Ethereum is going to pop up here before finally rolling over and capitulating. We have other members who think that we've bottomed and are going to go higher. We have other members who think we're just going to roll over straight from here. So it's very mixed opinions. I can imagine a lot of people out there are of the same mixed opinions. I would like to hear if you guys have some decent technical arguments for bullish or bearish. I would definitely love to hear those arguments in the comments below. But I personally think that if we do break up out of this, it probably is for one break above the 200-day, and then we probably will fail that if we don't immediately fail out of this due to the low volume area right here. So I don't think there's any major fundamental news that Bitcoin that can come out and really rocket the market higher outside of Amazon actually using Bitcoin for purchases. But I don't even think that's going to necessarily be the end all to this bear market for Bitcoin. So all right, guys, there you go. Thanks for joining me. I kind of wanted to put a bullish video out a couple of days ago, but I'm glad I didn't because, now that the weekend's passed, it looks pretty bearish. So I'm sorry I'm not bullish, to be honest with you. I really am kind of sorry that I'm not more bullish than I was even just a few days ago. But, it is a bear market. You have to let it prove to you that it's over. You don't want to front run a bear market. It's very, very dangerous. So, well, thanks for joining me, guys. I appreciate it, and I will see you next time.